It's about 6:30 on a Sunday night and we're just about to go up to Macomb Hill in Manly Vale to try and find the very rare and endangered red-crowned toadlet. It's thought that they still exist on that site where, sadly, there's a big development plan by the Department of Education. So let's go out, let's see what there is there, and hopefully we can see this mysterious, rare, threatened and incredible tiny frog, the red-crowned toadlet. It's a race against time to save this beautiful place. It's right up on a ridge top between Manly Dam and the Pacific Ocean. It's an incredible remnant area of scenic beauty and rare wildlife. There's echidnas up here, there's swamp wallabies. They found the eastern pygmy opossum, a very rare and endangered species. Powerful owls. There's even things like the eastern bent-winged bat, which is another endangered species. And that's not counting the rich, rare plant life that is coming up very strongly after a fire. Recently at Barangaroo they've been planting, I think, 81 species of indigenous plants local to the Sydney area, whereas here, just naturally, there's well over 130 which were discovered in a very cursory fashion. So this is authentic bushland. It's not a reproduction, it's genuine, ancient, diverse beauty that could be lost and put under concrete. And the rest of it that surrounds it just have to be cleared and felled and denuded for what they call an asset protection zone. So a school, of course, is very vulnerable to fire, so it makes the asset protection zone have to be even more comprehensive. So in a place that's renowned and famous for teaching children about nature, it could just become an ecological desert. On the other side of that fence is the nature area where the school kids learnt for generations about how to protect the environment. The new buildings from the school will be built right on top of that and come across here, and the asset protection zone will have to be for 70 metres up that way, and basically they'd have to clear virtually everything so that the school wouldn't catch fire. So not only will that nature area be lost, all this fragile and sensitive bushland around it would have to be lost too. And inside that fence is where they found the eastern pygmy possums. There's an online petition which has got over 1,000 signatures and comments from all people from different walks of life in the community, showing their horror at this development proposal and trying to get the message to the decision makers in government that this is just not on. In the 21st century, to be destroying an area of remnant bushland of this quality it's just staggering that the Department of Education would even come up with this plan. The land that we're standing on now was saved by a community campaign in 1995 and included ultimately into Manly Dam Reserve, Manly Ringawar Memorial Park. It was proposed to end up as a Landcom housing project. So after that effort by the community to get it protected and included in the park, to now see it under threat again is demoralising, to say the least.
Okay, so the red-crowned toadlet is a brood frog, which means that all these little frogs are about 2 or 3 centimetres big, and they actually call from usually and breed in seepy sort of wet areas, gullies, sort of tiny little gullies. They love the sides of the roads. You see like through Coongai Chase National Park, and sandstone seeps. They lay the eggs and then wait till the rains come, and they wash the eggs into some more sort of permanent water like streams and more wet ditches and things like that. So their favourite habitat is sandstone seeps, which is unfortunate because they're only known from the Sydney sort of sandstone region, which is where the humans have focused basically. So they are one of the species that are threatened by sort of death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing. So development, particularly changes in drainage structure on the land, So they're listed as threatened. What else? I mean, they're blackish greyish with a red thing on top of their head, hence the name red-crowned toadlets, and a little red thing on their butt as well. And their belly is black and white marbled, and people have used these black and white marbling patterns to identify individuals as well. So they all have different like fingerprints kind of on their belly. So if you're doing a population study on them, you can just take photographs of their belly and tell that that's Arthur or George or whichever one that you're looking at.
Emily, who's a local citizen scientist, has gone out with her GPS and her recorder, and she's actually found some red-crowned toadlets, which is fantastic. And she's brought us to the spot where that discovery was made, and she's subsequently lodged that discovery with the Australian Museum. So this is Emily, and she's going to show us where the red-crowned toadlets are.
I've actually found them at a couple of sites, so this is just one of the sites, the first site. And all I did, I was armed with a phone with a pre-recorded call, which I downloaded off the New South Wales EPA website. And you simply wander around and stop every now and then, play the call, and then listen. So I'll move in closer over here and we'll play the call. So that's the noise we're looking for. Can you hear that? So
Is that the noise?
move the camera in here. You won't be able to see them. But can you hear that? That's it. That's the noise. We've just put the camera inside the crevice where the toadlets are so we can get a better recording. It's nice and damp and protected in here. It's a good home. There's at least a couple of males. Before I came out searching for this frog, this toadlet, it is actually a frog, I thought I'd do some research. And I was reading on the Office of Environment and Heritage's profile for the red-crowned toadlet. And one of the interesting things it says about them is due to their tendency for really discrete, small populations, concentrating in particular sites, a relatively small localised disturbance may have a significant impact on a local population if it occurs on favoured breeding areas or refuge areas. So this is why it's important that we protect this area near the Manly Vale School, because there are toadlets here and it is a very small refuge of that particular habitat that they gravitate to. So we're just looking at one of the Angulphras flowering here, and this provides heaps of food, things like the pygmy possum, these insects here. It's full of native bees in the daytime, and this tree that we're standing in front of is the kind of size that would be cleared from this area, so the food would be getting cleared out of the area as well as the animals themselves.
So these red-crowned toadlets are just below the area which will be denuded for the school's asset protection zone if the development is approved, and the runoff, the hydrology will be severely affected. And in fact these rocks could even be destroyed because they're putting new roadways in here, doing a lot of earthworks.
Probably just